tell us the story of your life a little bit?
Story of my life, little bit. Okay. I was born in Czech Republic in 1987, and I was born to a pair of people who are not enthusiastic in any religion. My dad believes that there is God creator, but that's pretty much all what he believes. My mom, I have no idea what she believed. She doesn't live anymore. She passed away when I was 5. And I studied at a Catholic high school. I learned about religions for 8 years at that school. And interestingly, it was the Catholic high school where I became a Buddhist. I was so much interested in religions and in psychic powers, so I was reading books and I was meeting priests and monks, Christian monks, and I was talking with them about religions. Imagine a 15 years old boy, 12 years old boy, you know, going to monasteries and talking about religions. And I was really interested in psychic powers. I thought, like, now in this life, you know, how can I avoid that somebody would kill me? There was nobody going to kill me, you know, but I thought, like, how can I avoid the danger that somebody would kill me? So if I have a lot of money, I would have to build a nicely protected house. But with the modern technology, it's possible to break pretty much anything. So maybe building a nice protected house will not help me to avoid danger of death. So I thought, okay, so what about if I become a king? You know, so I will have a lot of things and I will have a lot of power. But then I learned that some kings may be dethroned. And that's not a very fortunate case. So I thought, okay, so being a king is not sure. So I came to the conclusion that maybe if I get psychic powers, you know, of levitation or disappearing here and appearing somewhere else, you know, or walking over the water, then maybe I would be able to protect myself from any danger. So I started to read books about how to get psychic powers. So I read quite a number of books, and as I was reading those books, I found out that it's the Buddhist monks who attain the highest, the most powerful psychic powers. So that obviously was my solution. So I thought, okay, so being a Buddhist monk means I will get the high psychic powers. All right, that means that I have to become a Buddhist monk. And so I started to read more books about Buddhism, and I found a lot of interesting things in Buddhism, a lot of ideas that have answered my questions, which I couldn't answer in the other religions. And so I was even more and more interested. And then I found out about meditation retreats in Czech Republic. We do not have Goenka retreats in Czech Republic, but we have Mahasi method retreats. And I attended those retreats, 2 days, actually 4 days retreats, 10 days retreats, and 14 days retreats. And I really like them. I really like to observe the breath. I like to observe the mind. And also I trained myself in observing the 8 precepts, which involve not eating afternoon and not listening to any music or musical instruments or dancing or watching funny movies, funny performances, embellishing the body or sitting or lying on luxurious furniture. So I was observing those 8 rules, 8 precepts for I think 8 months, as I was still going to school and having a job beside that. And I really, I came to the conclusion that I'm really worthy of becoming a monk. You know, I like tested myself. Will I be able to become a monk? Will I be able to live as a monk free from all lustful actions, not only related to another person but also related to me? Would I be able to live as a monk free from all lustful speech? And I came to the conclusion that yes, I would. So then gradually I trained more and more in meditation, and then, as you would expect, I met a beautiful girl, and she has become my girlfriend, and then we engaged, and then we moved to a different apartment, and then it came back. Hey, what are you doing? Wanted to become a monk. Wanted to get free from birth, old age, and sickness in the other lives. You wanted to get free from rebirth. You wanted to get the psychic powers. Now you're with this girl. You get married, you will have a child, you will try hard. You will work hard to be happy, to make all of them happy. And then what you get? Old age, sickness, and death. And next life, again, if you're lucky. If you're enough lucky not to fall in hell or animal realm or ghost realm. So I have seen that indeed now I'm young, healthy, wealthy. I had a lot of money. I had actually, my salary was 4 times more than my dad's, so I was pretty well off. That was all my work. And so I thought, okay, so maybe this is the time. This is the time to become a monk. Until I'm healthy, until I have all the resources, I don't have any enemies, I don't have any debt that I could not repay. I think at that moment I didn't have any. You need to pay all of your debts before you become a monk. So whatever debt I had, it was nothing difficult. I paid it all easily. And at that time I finished a year in business English, and I just have passed my entrance examination to a university. And I was just like literally waiting for the letter from the university when they just invite me to come and sign up for the course. And so I decided, no, I'm not going to sign up, and I'm going to Sri Lanka. So I told to my girlfriend, oh dear girlfriend, I'm going to Sri Lanka and I will become a monk. And if I don't like it there, I will come back. If I like it there, I will not. Now she thought, okay, he will come back anyway. So she let me go. And so I came to Sri Lanka and I didn't return. After 3 months, my girlfriend found another boyfriend, as was the agreement, and that's good. And I became a novice in Sri Lanka, and I studied Buddhist and Pali University in Sri Lanka, where for another 3 years I studied about religions. So I studied about them 8 years in a Catholic high school, another 3 years in the Buddhist and Pali University. So I have seen the different attitudes, to the different religions. And I have again visited various mosques, and I spoke with various Muslims and Muslim scholars and Muslim teachers. And I also went for alms round into a Muslim village. So I had interesting experiences in Sri Lanka. Positive experiences altogether, without exception. All of my experiences with Muslims were positive, but not to the point where I would find Islam more appealing to me than Buddhism. That doesn't mean that Islam is wrong, it's just that my attitude is such that, or my understanding is such that Buddhism will help me more for me. And then in Sri Lanka at the university I studied with Burmese monks. And the Burmese monks told me about Myanmar. They said, you want to become enlightened? then go to our country. This is the good country for you. You are really good to stay and practice in our country. I helped the Burmese monks to learn English and to pass their examination, because they go there, you know, to Sri Lanka to get a degree. And then in Sri Lanka, and then back in Myanmar with the degree, they get devotees. From devotees, they get support. And then they use the support to build hospitals and schools and humanitarian schools, and schools as buildings and so on for the people around them. Or in their village, they build roads and water tanks and electric, how do you call that? Electric generators for their villages and so on and so on. So that's how Burmese monks go to Sri Lanka, get degree, and then they support Myanmar. And so I was really enthusiastic about their behavior, their attitudes, how they know the Buddha's teachings, how they follow the Buddha's teachings. And I found it more, how to say it diplomatically, I found it more pleasing to me than what I have seen in Sri Lanka. So I decided to go to Myanmar and practice in Myanmar. So after being 4 years a novice, you know, not fully ordained, but just following 10 precepts, when you get fully ordained, you are supposed to follow over 90 billion rules, which are summarized in 227 topics. And so I didn't receive higher ordination immediately, because in Sri Lanka you need to wait around a year or half a year until your teacher, until your master tests you, and then you can get ordained. I was waiting half a year to become a novice, and then I would be waiting perhaps another half a year or perhaps a year to get the higher ordination. But before that would be possible, I moved to the university environment. So I was far from my teacher, and so my teacher couldn't check me. Other monks wanted to ordain me, but at that moment I thought it will be better for me to ordain in Myanmar. So I stayed as a novice until I finished the university. I came to Myanmar, to Shue Men Doya in Mengala Dong. And in Shue Men Doya in Mengala Dong, I asked the great master, who has memorized 20 books of the Pali scriptures, whether he would allow me to stay there for 5 years, which he didn't allow any other foreigner ever before. And at that moment I also gave him my dictionary, Burmese English Czech dictionary, which I compiled before I entered Myanmar. It has over 1,000 pages. And when I showed him my dictionary, when I told him that I passed my examination at the university with all marks same, namely A, he was very happy about me, and he decided that he will let me to stay for 5 years in the monastery. And as was agreed, that happened. So I stayed in Shue Men Doya for around 5 years, or actually 5 rain retreats to be exact. Rain retreat is the period of rains. In India, that is understood to be somewhere around August to November. It should be around 3 months. So staying 5 such rain retreats in Shue Men Doya, I studied meditation and the theory to a very, very deep level. And then my meditation master told me that this is a good time to share what I have experienced in meditation. My preceptor, the one who ordained me, also suggested to me that this is a good time to share what I have experienced in meditation and what I have learned from the scriptures. I have memorized around 600 pages in the Pali text. And so I was invited by a different monastery, it's Sakanji Doya in Hlegu, to stay there and teach meditation there. So I moved there, and it has been around 2 years that I've been there. and I've been teaching there meditation in both Burmese and English, and also the other languages that I can speak to those who come and ask me for guidance. Our meditation center is now very developed thanks to the supporters that are coming and supporting my works. We have a nice peaceful community of monks, nuns, laymen and laywomen. At this moment we have a layman, one. And so I spend my time there teaching meditation, explaining the Buddha's teachings, not only to those who are present there, but also over internet. And I visit other places such as Thabarwa, Yeikthar to share my knowledge and my experience. And that is what has been my life so far.